Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we're recording on. For me, that is the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation.
And for me, it's the Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation. God, how much are you drinking today? Seriously. What are you, a fucking camel? We're back.
How are you, sister? Are you good? We're never going to get these openings right, hey?
Never.
Every time we do it, they're awkward AF.
And if we ever do, we know we're at the end.
We're at the end. We're boring, and nobody wants to be boring.
Nobody wants to be boring.
Girl,
What?
the other day, I feel like I've hit rockers. I've hit rockers plenty of time in my time, but I was literally sitting on my couch, not even my own couch, the couch that I'm staying in an apartment that I've been put up in. And I was just like so invested in my stories and my shows. I found a chip on the couch and I put it straight into my gob. And it wasn't until I had it in my gob and munched on it that I was like, I literally just picked up a chip that I don't even know how long it was there for. And I munched on it and I texted you. And what did you say to me?
I just did the same thing.
At exactly the same.
And you know what? It's not until you get it in your mouth and your mouth has this amazing system where it knows exactly how old it is then.
How old the chip
You can
is.
look at the chip. You can smell the chip. You can feel the chip. But until that chip hits saliva, you don't know whether the chip is old or new, but your tongue does.
But how stoked do you get when you know it's a new chip?
Yeah, that's like finding a chip on your boob shelf.
Yes.
And that's good. I have boob shelf and gut shelf, so I often find food from a little bit earlier. I was like, oh, God, that's so good because I really liked that meal and I thought it was done.
Now I've got a nibble left on me tit.
And now I've saved that. Look, that's Ron's. That's Ron.
I'm saving it for Arthur.
Arthur and Ron. And I got them both in my mouth. Thanks, Arthur. Thanks, Ron. But yeah, no, I don't think it's a bad thing. Although you're on someone else's couch, that's
I know,
a bit weird.
that's a bit gross. But I didn't even think there was no body to mind thought process. It was literally just like chip mouth. And then I texted you and I was like, I just ate a chip from the couch that I don't know how long's there.
Was it fresh or?
I feel like it was the day before, but I just love the fact that you wrote back to me straight away. I just did the same thing. And it just made me feel less like a piece of shit. I was like, of course she did.
At least you don't live with dogs because, you know, sometimes you pick it up and you're like, well, that wasn't human food.
I'm not even sure if that was
Not even
what
sure
that
came out of. I've got a couch that Isabel Silbury gave me from, you know, our Isabel from Gogglebox.
Yeah.
And when her and her fiance moved into their new place, they got all new furniture. And I went, can I have your old lounge? She's like, I'm already giving it to you. And I was like, I'm going to get it dry cleaned. And her fiance looked at me and went, yeah, you want to.
Yeah.
Because they got engaged on that lounge.
Yeah, and they had a full lockdown in that lounge.
And guess what? I still haven't got it cleaned.
Is that the couch in the background?
It is. It's the couch in the background.
Look at Siswa.
Look at Sissy in the background. Sis. Hello, my baby.
Hello, my baby.
Hello, my
darling. Hello, my baby dog. The reason why I probably ate that chip the other day is period life. You know how you love to smash chippies when you've got your period? Well, I do anyway.
Oh, my God. I think I've missed my last period. I think I've gone in. I think I've gone into the change.
No.
Yes. I think I'm at that side.
Are you happy about that?
I'm stoked about that. My God, it would be so nice to not have a period anymore.
How old were you when you got your first period?
I was 14.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard age, isn't it?
Yeah, well, everyone around me had their period first. How old were you?
I originally got mine, I was so young. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was 11 and then I didn't get it again until I was 13.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't prepared for it or anything. And I remember just like being so dizzy and then going to the toilet and looking in my undies and it was just this like thing of blood and I faint.
Really?
I go, Mom, and then I just fainted on the ground and she was like, that's your period. Because we just weren't ready because I was so young. Like I had little boobies and I started getting little pubies.
You should have been ready. Your mum should have had you really, really ready. I was so ready that I used to wear pads in the vain hope that I'd bring it on.
I know so many of my friends did that. Embrace not having your period for as long as possible.
If I only knew. But I never had bad periods until I went into perimenopause. I had really normal, great periods. 3 days, heavy a little bit on the first day, and then, to nothing. I did that for decades. And then I went into perimenopause, and it was like a fatted calf being killed. It was the worst flooding. That's what they call it. And I know women who have their entire period flooding. Like, imagine having 7 days.
Yeah.
That you can't even change your pad quick enough, or it was so awful. I had to go on this special medicine to thin it out. And
Yeah,
halve
you were
it
telling me that.
But I was 14. You're not going to believe where I got my period.
Oh, wow.
I was on holidays, on my school holidays. I went to my cousin's. I was all day on a the waterworks, the water slides.
Slippery dips? Wet and Wild?
Water slides. Wasn't Wet and Wild.
But something like Wet and Wild.
Yeah, I was at my cousin's house, staying at my cousin's house for a week at Dicky Beach.
Oh, Sunshine Coast represent.
So that would have been 1987. And I called my cousin Deborah into the bathroom, and I looked at my undies, and it looked like it was because it was clearly really light. It was like brown, it'd gone brown, blood, and because it was old. And I was like, "What is that?" And she goes, "I said, is that my period?" And she goes, "It's a start."
Oh, bless.
And I was so proud, and I thought, everyone will probably know when they just look at me.
Yeah, that you're a woman now.
Yeah. And it was really, she said, "Do you want to call your mum?" And I was like, "Yeah." So she gave me the phone, and I dialed my mum's number in New South Wales and said, "Mum, I got my period." She goes, "Oh, you're a woman now."
Isn't it funny though, once you hit a certain age, like a teenager, you want it to come. I had a friend that would wear pads and pretend she had a period like the rest of us. And I was like, "Girl, you're so lucky you don't have it." Because I remember when I got it, I felt such this sense of shame growing up with so many boy cousins, and all the boys at school started, looking at my little boobies, and I hated that. Like, I would not wear sports bras so you couldn't see it through my sports top, and I'd hunch over so it looked like I wouldn't have boobs so you couldn't see them in my little top.
Oh, that's awful.
But I remember just feeling mortified. Like, I was like, I'm not my parents' little girl anymore. And I almost remember feeling that in a sense from them. Like, I could never speak to my dad about my period. I wanted him to see me as a little girl for so long out of the fear of him not knowing what to do with me. And ultimately that's kind of what happened. As soon as I turned into a teenager, he fully tapped out. And that's something that I've had to struggle with my entire life, having to get therapy, realizing that's not my fault. But as soon as I got my period, I was like, I don't want to be a woman. Like, I'm so young, and I want to keep playing with my dolls and not checking blood in my knickers every hour. But yeah, it's quite a daunting experience that I feel like a lot of, especially boys, don't understand what it's like to be a little girl and then look into your underwear and see blood. And then every month until you hit menopause, you're bleeding. And we don't die, men. So you fucking be frightened of us. Every month we bleed out of our nunkers and we do not die.
Yeah, and we just get on no matter how painful it is.
And the pain can be unbearable. And that's just the pain. Don't even go there with my hormones.
Yeah, the other
my
side
boobs.
effects. Yeah.
My complete and utter depression leading up to my period, where I feel like I'm not myself. Yeah, I have to turn up and go to work in an industry where you're very easily judged a lot. So if I walk out looking like a mole, they'll be like, diva. It's like, well, no, maybe I've just literally pulled myself off the toilet floor from spewing because my ovaries are aching. But God forbid you use that as an excuse.
My biggest pet hate, is when a man says, "Are you on your period?"
Oh, that makes me so livid. Oh, is it that time of month? I'm like, if you even knew what this time of a month felt like, you would never be saying that.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I've killed so many men because of that one.
I've got a boot full of fellas who said us at that time of mine.
I had to get a 2-bedroom house because of it.
Or if they go, oh, not the hormone talk again. It's like, you don't have them. So you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. You shut your mouth.
What is that from? You shut your mouth.
Wedding crashes. You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. It actually infuriates me, and I find myself woman-splaining to men all the time why they should give me leeway as to why I'm a bit of a psychopath for 5 days of a month. Because I'm like, I just want you to know what it feels like, and I feel myself justifying myself. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to. You should do the research because you have to coexist with me as much as I have to fucking coexist with you, and educate yourself.
That would be too easy.
I'm sick. Do the work.
There's a great article I read about how we really don't need to have our periods anymore, and they've only just realizing this, and the reason that they've only just started realizing it is because studies on women in medicine have pretty much never been done, and they've only just started really doing studies on women and women's health and realizing you can bypass your period, with whatever it means it is to bypass your period, and it's completely safe. It's completely fine.
Depends who you talk with, though. There's so many different. I had spoke to this other lady about that once, and she was like, stopping your period, especially with a pill. Oh, it was so intense. I'd never heard of it before, but it's almost like giving yourself a mini miscarriage or something every month, she was saying. And I was like, that's heavy. I've never thought of it like that.
The period is a mini abortion every month.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of the egg. You're getting rid of the walling of your uterus, because you're not using it as a baby.
Yeah.
It's not growing into anything. But stopping that this is just what I've read from it.
Yeah, and everyone's different, so please don't take our word as Bible.
No, this is definitely. But what I read was from an expert in the matter. Yeah. And I'll try to find it. I will try to find it because there is a lot of it being talked about now because they've only just started looking at it. It used to be a one size fits all. This is it. You've got your period. Suck it up, ladies. We don't care. And there's nothing we can do about it because we don't even want to go there. You
Thank God.
You hormonal bitches can shut the fuck up. No, there is a lot of women's health really being looked at and tested now, studies being done. And it's been a while, it's been a good since the 70s, 80s that these kind of things have really started, and now they're really building. So we've got results. That's just one of them, and it is wonderful because especially for women who have, and I know women because I'm nearly 50, so I know a lot of women who in their 30s had hysterectomies because of the amount of pain that they were going through every month. It's not worth it. And studies have now shown you can do that and you will still be a complete woman.
Oh, do anything to live pain-free. I think we're coming so far in this that we don't really care if people are going to say, those types of people that say stuff like, if you don't have your, if you have hysterectomy, you're not a woman. We don't hold space for those people. They need to catch up. And thankfully they're going to be the past. And there's so much more that we can finally learn and educate ourselves on. Because remember, at the end of the day, we are your first home, ladies and gentlemen and people of non-identifications. Your cisgender woman is your first home. So how about you take some time to get to know your first home?
You know what? Can I just quickly put this in? Something that really annoys me is when gay men, when you mention anything about a vagina, goes, ooh, ooh. It's like they need to stop doing that. They really need to stop doing that because we are not disgusting. Our vaginas are not disgusting. You came from that.
Yeah.
And as gross as you think it is, you came from that. And if that didn't exist, that beautiful, amazing, incredibly designed organ didn't exist, you wouldn't exist. The funny thing is so many gay men are straight women's allies.
Yeah.
You need to be an ally in that as well. We don't have a part of us that grosses you out. That's got to stop.
Just because you don't want to sex it doesn't mean it's not beautiful.
Have you seen the article about let's not say the name of the restaurant, one of those big chain restaurants that make the women, get their cleavage out for their patrons?
Yes.
They've brought out a new unit. I mean, that's enough. That's enough. We've got this restaurant chain where men can go along and eat their wedges, have their bloomin' onions, and they can look at the titties. But now the restaurant chain have decided that they're going to have a very similar thing with the cleavage, but of the bottom kind.
Because titties aren't enough.
Because titties aren't enough. Well, you're either a tits or an ass man, or you could be both, or a woman.
Yeah.
But they've got the pants now going up the bum.
Wow,
So,
right up the clacker there. How uncomfortable.
yeah, I know. I mean, that's just going to catch shit as far as I'm concerned. But
Imagine serving men wedges while you have a wedgie
I know.
and your titties out.
Well, you could have this Friday special called Wedges and Wedgies.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go there.
So I think it actually goes a little bit with the fashion that's at the moment. Because have you noticed, obviously you've noticed, everyone's noticed, but when did swimmers start going up our arse cracks?
Hi caramba. I love women wearing whatever they want, but my God, I personally feel like I can taste their wedgies. Like I feel like it's so far up their clackers, I can feel it in my mouth.
It actually is that far up their clackers. And you know what? I am all for people wearing what they want as well. But this is the problem that my friend, I'm not having such a big problem because you know me, I'm of the mindset, if you don't like it, darling, just don't look. We're very Jenna Liano in that way. But my friend, because here in Melbourne, we have bars on the beach, on the sand.
Yeah, love it.
Right. So it's a full setup, a bar. You've got a toilet, you've got everything, tables, lounges, bars, food. And these girls getting around with these wedgies. Like they've come straight out of the water and they are ordering a drink. So you're standing in line or you're sitting and your eye level is with people at the bar and a whole heap of bums. I just simply don't look. But my friend, she gets upset. And I don't blame her completely. I'm like, yeah, because when you're that close to people's bottoms, you can see arse hairs, another Gina Liano saying, and pimples.
But I've got pimples on my face.
Pimples in your face, on someone's bum. I have pimples on my bum. I don't want to show anyone those.
I hear what you're trying to say. Look, I'm not a fan. I think if you want to wear them for yourself, great. But like, are you wearing them for yourself or are you wearing them because everybody gets... I personally just wouldn't want everybody looking at my freckles.
The funny thing is you've got a really good bum. You should wear those kind of... Like, I've got no bum, so it would be like, and...
No.
It would be like a pug dog wearing...
on its face, like...
No, just stand the pug up and you know how then you can see how small the pug's bottom is?
Oh, Yuri.
Yeah.
I thought you meant because they got a little flat face.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like men oogling over my goodies just because, like, I don't know if it's like a feminist thing or if it's just like, it could sometimes be an insecure thing, but my bits are my bits and I show them to the people I want to show them to. I don't want to be walking around with men thinking they can just stare at me.
Yeah, and you can't stop people looking. They're allowed to look. There's absolutely nothing we can do about people's stare or their gaze or where their eyes look at.
I just don't want to please them.
But yeah, I mean, if you're really truly comfortable wearing that.
Good on you. But if you're forced with like this uniform,
like this
they were
uniform.
forced to wear these teeny tiny tune-up pants. No. But really, I feel, do you really want to work at that place, girls? If you don't want to, I'm here to help.
That might be the only option. When I was in Kalgoorlie 2 years ago, that's the biggest mining town has the biggest mining hole in the Southern Hemisphere, actually, that they have the topless bar girls.
Titty girls.
They're known for it. The whole town is known for their pubs and their topless bar girls. And I had a chat with a couple of the girls who work in the chemist and girls that work at the bars and everything, and they earn so much money that it puts them through university. It sets them up to buy their own homes, So they have this feeling of power, and it's something that they can do so incredibly easily and earn a shitload of money because, the miners are earning so much money and they just will, there's a lot of money in that town, let's put it that way. So they seem to me very empowered. But also there wasn't a big choice either.
Well, that's it.
So, but a lot of them said that gets us out of here. If you were born here, it gets us out. You do it for a little bit and you make a shit ton of money and you get the hell out of Dodge. And I'm like, yeah, good. But it still makes me go, As long as everyone's consensual.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying it, the one thing that really doesn't sit well with me is like men wanting in their time to go and stare at tits and ass and eat wings, but then gaslighting you if you want to go out and wear your tits and ass out, being like, well, you shouldn't have dressed like that and then you wouldn't have got raped. But it's like, yeah, but you want to stare at my titties in your environment and
that's what I was going to say. We're not victim shaming.
No.
Saying, you don't want to wear what you don't want people to stare at your, and that's something you do have control over. So that's not saying, well, if you didn't like being stared at, then don't wear those clothes. That is a choice because you're going to be stared at. Someone putting their hands on your body, completely different story.
Yeah.
But you can't stop people looking at you. And if you'd like being looked at.
Well, yeah, good on you.
Good on you. Get it out there.
I want to sizzle their little eyes off. I'd be like, don't look at me.
Maybe I'll start wearing them just to make people really uncomfortable.
Do it. Oh, my God, I would love that.
Oh, so what are you not looking at? Look at me. Why are you looking? Look at me. Stop crying. Stop it. Look at me.
They're like, my eyes,
look at my pimples. Look at pimply bum. And that's enough for today. Thank you very much for coming.
I'm Trixie.
I'm Trixie McAllister.
But thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah,
that's
guys.
I never know how to do a good outro. What do you say? Bye.
Yeah, well, that's another episode done and dusted. Aren't we clever?
We are clever. Tune in next week
for
more cleverness from the girls. We'll be wearing our what are they called? Wedgie bum bathers. Head to Go
it's my turn.
Do it.
Please head to Apple Podcasts and rate and review the show. You can get in touch with us directly by emailing the podcast at 2girls@novaentertainment.com.au. Don't forget to follow Nova Podcast Official on Instagram for all the behind the scenes. And there's so much behind the scenes action.
There truly is.
There truly really is. Bye. Bye.
No, but seriously, bye.
Bye. Seriously,
Bye, girl.
bye.